Good afternoon from Bali, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I'd talk about something kind of fun, and well, you'll tell me whether you think this is kind of fun, but I think it's incredibly fun and powerful and exciting. So this video, as you might have noticed, is about Ojas and the transformation of sexual energy. And it's so incredible that for whatever reason, this direction came to me today. And if you've followed my videos for some length of time, and some of you have, you'll know that I have talked about some ideas in relating to this in past videos, and I'm talking about years ago. Today, for whatever reason, I was encouraged to share this with you, and so I'm going to talk about Ojas. So it's Ojas. It says Ojas is a Sanskrit term that can be translated as vigor or essence of vitality. In a nutshell, Ojas is the vital energy that rules our immunity, strength, and happiness. 3 things we want to have in abundance. Now, don't we want these things in abundance? And so, wow, yay, Ojas. Now, how do we bring this to strengthen in our own system? And some of you know that I used to be focused on traditional Chinese medicine in my practice. And in TCM, it is often known as qi. So we'd be balancing and raising qi in a system that is needing some healing. Now in this, qi is dependent on air, so we know that breathing is helpful for our healing too. We know that oxygen is helpful for our healing. And we come back to Ojas, and when we look at qi in Chinese medicine, we think very much about kidney qi, or I'll even say kidney essence, which would be the term that reflects Ojas in the Sanskrit term. So this kidney essence, why is this important in terms of sexual transformation? Transformation from an energy. So when we see energy, remember, energy is not created or destroyed. Energy just is. And so when we think of Ojas, this is energy that just is. This is our vital energy. Now we know that we can improve this vital energy with good sleep, good nutrition, good exercise. And we can decrease this energy by poor sleep and low exercise, and also low thoughts and heavy emotions. So when we are aware of the things that affect this energy, again, when we're balancing energy in the body, so I will say from qi in that perspective of Chinese medicine, which is also known as prana. So this vital force in the body, which yogis will relate to breathing, right? So we're building the prana. And the whole idea behind all of this energy is, what is it doing? So when we know that, oh, I've got a backache, I have a very specific gross physical level of healing that I'd like to have done, and I can focus on my back and bring energy and consciously bring energy to that space. Or I can go to someone to do acupuncture. I could work with someone who does energy work. I can work with Reiki. I could work with medication. And all of it is to work on that area. Now, medication will only last for so long, as you might know. Eventually, our own body, our bodies and minds participate in this healing. Now, this requires this healthy Ojas. Now, this Ojas, remember, I'm bringing it together with sexual transformation. And this is interesting because, again, when I mentioned that this is the same as kidney essence in Chinese medicine, this is what it is. This is, the more we have, the more powerful our sexual energy can be. The more we have, the more powerful our healing can be. The more we have, the more powerful our strength can be in life. The more we have, the more enthusiasm we have. The more we have, the more intellectual we can be. So whatever we choose to direct this energy to, we can. Now, energy is of course changeable. It's constantly in motion. So when I talk about this transformation of Ojas, it's important to know that if we are losing it through secretions, through sexuality, we do lose some Ojas in that. So even Chinese medicine will actually talk about each decade of a person's life and what should be the ideal, or could be, or is suggested for the ideal frequency of sex for anyone in that age range. And so that was interesting when we look again back at Ojas. We require, when we're doing this movement ahead of moving forward in our lives, we can benefit from some good judgment and discernment as to what we decide to put our energies into, because sexual energy is very powerful. So if someone is feeling very high sexual energy and they feel sexual, they will utilize that energy in that sexuality and not be able to have any extra energy to work on intelligent actions, intelligent reading, intelligent spiritual development, whichever way. Now, that might have had a bit of bias in it, but I will say there is an evolution to our systems. So now I'm going to bring you back to judgment, discernment. It actually, in Sanskrit, the word for this would be Vivek. So it means judgment, discernment, knowledge, reason, conscience. And Vivek is often a common name that's used in South Asia, particularly India and Nepal. It's again of Sanskrit origin and means wisdom and or conscience. So it's often used in Hinduism, in Buddhism, as representing this wisdom and this conscience. So this wisdom can only be built when we actually allow our ojas to build. Now, as we allow our ojas to build, there will be all sorts of temptations that come along. And whatever our mind is driven to, we can put some energy into that. So if my mind is driven to working out, I love working out, let's say, for example. So someone loves doing marathons, so they use that energy. It's in their physical body. Another person loves sex, so they use that energy in that sexuality. Another person, and even sweating actually does release some of this vital energy. So in building this vital energy, this might make sense now to you if you ever wonder, why is it that monks are supposed to be celibate? And why is it when people get religious, in any religion, I will say, it's often encouraged that celibacy will be fantastic for that person, for people who are moving into more of a spiritual direction. And this is the whole idea behind it, because as we utilize sexual energy, or ojas, or kidney essence, we are losing an energy that we could utilize in very beautiful ways to help beyond ourselves and help the world around us. And that's what I encourage. I do want to make sure that based on this word Vivek, this judgment, discernment, it might not surprise you that one of the Swamis that I find is very useful to read his work or to understand his thinking is a Swami named Swami Vivekananda. And he said this about ojas, which I thought was so perfect for and fitting for today, that I thought I'd share this with you and end this video on this idea. It says, the yogis say that part of the human energy, which is expressed as sex energy in sexual thought, when checked and controlled, easily becomes changed into ojas. So remember, someone might not have very high ojas, and now they're thinking sexual thoughts or has sexual feelings. This is coming from root energy if we think of chakra medicine, and I will put a link up for the links to my chakra series that I had done again years ago. I'll put that just under this video. But again, this is what he's saying, is that when checked and controlled, easily becomes changed into ojas. So this is why people who are studying spiritually, when they're young even, it's such a vital energy that's within someone that's moving this energy into a spiritual energy, and it easily gets changed into ojas in that time. Then we've got ojas is stored up in the brain, and the more ojas is in a man's head, the more powerful he is, the more intellectual, the more spiritually strong. And of course, I always joke about this, like, which head are you focused on? When I just read that quotation. Well, we're talking about sexuality, and I'm going to tell you that, yeah, a lot of times people are focused on the wrong end when they're thinking about ojas. And yes, there is a satisfaction, there is perhaps a desire that's fulfilled for people when they're using their ojas from that end. And there is something so much more meaningful, so much deeper, so much more beautiful that you would have to, I would encourage you to actually practice to see how beautiful this is when we can move this energy up to our head. And some of you might know of things like Kundalini. Kundalini is this exact same idea, that we move lower energies up to the head, into the third eye, into the crown, so that we are moving this energy upwards and consciously moving this energy. So he continues in this quotation. He says, one man may speak beautiful language and beautiful thoughts, but they do not impress people. Another man speaks neither beautiful language nor beautiful thoughts, yet his words charm. Interesting. And then finally, and then of course got this other. That is why, as I mentioned in this video too, that is why in all of the religious orders in the world which have produced spiritual giants, you will always find absolute chastity insisted upon. Absolute chastity insisted upon. And then this is the most important message of this quotation. It says, there must be perfect chastity in thought, word, and deed. Thought is what I'm going to focus on for you. Thought, you know, is so much of what I talk about in my videos. And the thought, there are so many people who are not actually having sex, and yet they think about it all the time. When will I have my next experience? When will I be able to do this? I so miss this, or my marriage doesn't have enough of this. And so many people, or sometimes relationships, you know, my partner isn't satisfying me, is something that I've heard a lot of clients talk about. When we think about the thought that even if we're just thinking about it and missing it and thinking that that would somehow balance our lives, we are losing some ojas in that time. So if we're very disciplined with our mind of, I know that this is not helping my own development of ojas, and we can actually be grateful now that we know this information. If you feel that you have a less than satisfying sex life, understand that this is an opportunity for using that same energy to transform into a spiritual wisdom, a conscience that is able to transmute energy and transform it into something that's so beautifully wonderful. And I'd love for you to check out my Shakti series. You know, I've talked about that a few times, but on top of the Shakti series, which I won't put as a link because I've mentioned it enough times in various videos, but one link I will put under this that is also, so other than the chakra series, I will put a link as to the sexual evolution that I had discussed again many years ago. And I would like you to now look at it, if you do watch those videos, through the eyes of understanding that, wow, if you don't have a good sex life, as what a lot of people are comfortable with talking about, then recognize this is an opportunity, a blessing from the universe that's allowing you to build up this energy to become something way beyond what you might be thinking right now, something beyond your body and mind, something connected to the whole oneness of us all. I wish you that beautiful experience, this beautiful journey, and that full awareness of this idea, and I hope that you'll practice in some way to conserve your ojas and to recognize why you might choose to do so. I wish you a fabulous day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.